Hi, my name's Kevin and I'll be your host for this tutorial. This is going to be a multi-part series on how to get Ionic, Cordova, Node.js, AngularJS all working on Windows 7, but the instructions will work with Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 with slight adaptations. By the end of this tutorial we will have built a simple but fully functional Android application with surprisingly little effort. So who is this tutorial aimed at? This tutorial is aimed at people who know a little bit of HTML and CSS and may have dabbled in JavaScript, PHP or other scripting languages but now want to turn their skills towards Android app development. So you might be asking yourself, why wouldn't we develop an Android app natively? Well, this workflow offers us a number of advantages. The apps you create will work on iOS and Windows Phone as well as Android. Web apps are also very flexible and the UI design can be a lot more flexible in my opinion. This workflow also allows quicker prototyping since we can debug in the browser rather than having to run it on an emulated device or a phone itself. Now that probably all sounds like a lot, but please bear with me, it is quite simple. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a browser. Any will do, but I'm using Firefox. I'm then going to go to Google and I'm going to search for Android SDK. After I've searched for Android SDK, I'm going to click the first result, which is developer.android.com. I'm going to scroll down the page and find Get the SDK for an existing IDE. Once I've clicked the download button, I'm going to agree to the EULA and read it all, of course. Then I'm going to click the blue download the standalone installer button and save it. Now that file is going to take a while to download, so I'm going to skip ahead, but once it's downloaded we'll continue. The next step will be to install Java. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to search for Java Java SE Development Kit. Then I'm going to click the first result, which is number 7. It doesn't really matter if you get 6 or 7, but 6 is newer. I'm going to accept the license agreement, which you have read, and then I'm going to look for Windows x86 or Windows x64. Choose x86 if you have an old computer, x64 if you have a new computer. That should work. Then click Save the file and let it download. Again, this download is going to take a while, so I'll be back in a moment. The next step is to actually install Java. This will allow us to install the Android SDK. First off, click the download button, then select JDK7U60, the file, click yes, and then it's basically just next, 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 next again, and then you may notice that it doesn't do anything for a second, but that's perfectly normal. Just give it a moment and you can see it's now doing stuff. So after it's complete, I will come back and we will continue. The next step will be to actually install the Android SDK. This is what this is what Ionic and Cordova use to actually build the packages and to actually emulate them. So what you'll do is you'll click on the download button again, select the installer underscore R23 or it might be R24 after this video, it all depends, I don't know if it's been updated or not. Then again it's just next, next, but don't just keep clicking next because there is a screen in a moment. Here it is. That destination folder, make a note of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. So you can see I'm copying it. Then I'm going to open Notepad. And after I've opened Notepad, I will paste it in there and keep it for later. So I'm going to go back and continue clicking next. There's nothing else to worry about, so just click next and then install, and you can see now it's installing. Now this takes a moment, again, so I'll be back with you when it finishes. The next step will be to install the tools that the SDK requires in order to create what we'll be creating later. Just follow these instructions basically. First off, make sure that Start SDK Manager is ticked. Once you've made sure it's ticked, click Finish. Now in a moment it will bring up this window. It takes a few seconds to load. It's basically going away and checking what it can download. Now it'll have some stuff ticked by default. Leave those ticked. Those are important. Now you can see there it says Android L. That is Android 5.0. I personally won't be developing for that, so I'm going to untick it for the moment. You can leave it ticked if you like, but it'll increase your download time. Make sure 4.4 is ticked, and after you've ticked 4.4, click Install 9 Packages. Now in the bottom right hand corner you should see a button labelled Accept License. Click that and you'll see all the things tick. You've read all those license agreements, right? Then click install and you can see it's now installing. This will take a while, so give it a bit, and when it's done I'll come back. The next step will be to add the path variable. Remember that note we made earlier? What we need to do now is open that as I am here. Excuse the mouse lag, not sure what's going on there. But once you've got the path variable open, you want to add a backslash and type platform-tools. Just like that. Once you've done that, I want you to copy the entire string, so everything there basically, just copy it. And then what you're going to need to do is click the Start button, and right click on my computer and click on Properties. Now on the right hand side there is an option called Advanced System Settings, then click Environment Variables. Once you're there, find the path variable, as I have there, click Edit. Now get to the end of the string, make sure you're at the end of it. Now add a semicolon and paste what you just copied. So you can see I've just pasted it. Then click OK, then click OK, then click OK again. Close everything out, and now the next step will be to log out of the system. So once everything's closed down, I'm going to log out. So now I'm logging out of the system, as you can see. And then I'm going to log straight back in. Now once I'm logged in, I'm going to click on the Start menu and search for command prompt. Basically we're just going to test to see that worked. So we're going to search for command prompt. There it is, and I'm going to type A for alpha, D for delta, B for beta, and you can see this text scrolling on the screen. If you get this, it means you've done everything correctly up until this point basically. So A, D, B. That's all for now. Next step will be to install Node.js, which we'll move on to. So the next step will be to install Node.js. We're going to be using its package management facility in order to install Cordova and Ionic. Probably sounds complicated, but it's really not. Don't worry too much. So we're going to open the browser. Once we've opened the browser, we're going to search for Node.js. Then we're going to click the first result, which will be Node.js. Click the install button. Now I've already got it downloaded, so I'm not going to wait for it to download. I'm just going to run the installer, as you can see. Click run, and then it is literally just next. Oh, here's another long license agreement. You've read it and agreed to it, I hope. If not, expect to sell your firstborn to Richard Stallman, but hey, who knows. Anyway, so now it's going to install. This takes a while, so I'll be back with you when it's done. So now the install is done, we'll click finish and then close out, and we'll move on to the next step. The next step will be to actually install Cordova and Ionic. Everything we've done so far was just to make those work. This is actually why I'm doing this video. It's just because the documentation for these tools is subpar. We'll put it that way. Took me a while to figure out how to get it all set up. I might have just been being stupid though, who knows. Either way, so first off we're going to open up the note, and I'm just going to show you what you're going to need to type in a moment. It's npm install g Cordova Ionic. Now if you try typing npm at the moment, as I am here, you'll see it doesn't work. It'll just say sorry, couldn't recognize it. Now the reason that is because we haven't logged out or logged in. We haven't logged out and logged back in. So we'll log off. And then we'll log straight back on, same as before. We'll open command prompt again, and then we'll type npm, and you'll see it works now. It actually shows some text. So we'll type that thing I said before. So it's N for Nova, P for package, M for manager, install -G space Cordova, C-O-R-D-O-V-A, and then space Ionic. Hit enter, and it'll start installing. Now this will take a while because it has to go away and download stuff, so I'll be back with you when it's done. So now it's finished, we'll move on to the next step. So now that we've done all that, that basically concludes the first part of this tutorial. We have set everything up that is required. The next part will discuss actually getting a project up and running, and we will, by the end of the second part, have a basic HTML5 app that will work on Android, and you'll be able to test it yourself. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the second part. Hi, my name's Kevin, and this is part 2 of the tutorial. First thing we're going to do is install something that I completely forgot to install in the previous part. It won't take 2 minutes, don't worry too much about it. What we're going to install is something called Git, which is known as a version management tool. So the first thing you'll do is open up your browser and you'll search for Git, G-I-T. So then you'll click the first result, and when you're on the first result you'll click the blue download for Windows on the right hand side. That will then take you to a download page. Save it, obviously. Wait for it to download. Now this will take a while, so I'll be back with you in a minute. So now that it's finished downloading, you'll run the installer. And then when UAC pops up asking you, you'll click yes, next, next, next. But don't just keep clicking next, because in a moment, all of these should be ticked like this. That's default, nothing changes. But on the next screen, you'll select the Use Git and optional Unix tools from the Windows command prompt. Just trust me, that's extremely useful. Next again, and then it'll start installing. This will take a while, so I'll be back with you in a moment. So what you'll actually do is log off and then log back on, which I'm doing here. So we've logged off, I'm logging straight back on. And now that we've done that, we'll move to the next part of the tutorial. Guess what? I forgot something else. We need to install something else. We need to install a package called Apache Ant. As to what it is, I'm not actually 100% sure. I think it's just a build manager, but either way, you open up your browser and then search for Ant on Windows, all one word. Click the first result, Ant on Windows, Ant Wiki. And then you should see Windows installer for Apache Ant. Click that and then click the link underneath Get It, which is download the latest version. This will take a while, so I'll be back with you in a moment. So now that's finished, we're going to run the installer. Click yes on the UAC prompt. Next, next. Then you're going to choose your Java directory. Now this will be in, it won't be in your user folder, it'll be under Computer, then go to C, then go to Program Files, or if you're running a 64-bit operating system, Program Files x86, Java, and then JDK 1.7. And it might have some slightly different numbers at the end at the time of you watching this video, but it doesn't really matter. This will take a while, be back with you in a moment. So now it's finished, it's telling us to log off and log back on, just like we have been doing. You can donate if you like. So now just log off and then log back on, same as before. Really sorry guys, forgot one last thing. Do you remember that note that we created before? You're going to open that and replace the platform tools with just tools. You're going to copy all that. And once you've copied it, you'll click on the Start button, right click My Computer, click Properties, then on the left hand side, Advanced System Settings, then Environment Variables, find the path variable again, click Edit, get to the end of the text, insert a semicolon if there isn't one already, and paste. Click OK, 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 exit everything. And we are finally done, I promise. Finally, let's get on to making our first Android app. Now, first thing we'll do is, the only thing that's changed since you left was I installed Notepad++. You can install any text editor you want. I'm not going to show you how to do this because it's really simple. If you want Notepad++, just Google Notepad++. It's a reasonably good text editor. There's also Sublime Text, and Christ, you can use Notepad if you want. I wouldn't recommend Notepad though. It works, but yeah. So first thing we'll do is we will not open that. We will open up your command prompt. And then what we'll do is we'll create our project. So to create a project, you type Ionic. Then to start the project, type start. Then you give it a name. So hello Android. I'm just going to call it that. You can call it whatever you want though. And then we will give it a template, which is blank. There are loads of different templates. We'll go over those in another video, but for now, just use blank. Now this will take a few seconds. I'm not going to cut it out though, because I want you to see what it looks like if it works. So it goes away, downloads the latest versions of the template, adds the plugins, and now it's done. So the next thing you'll do is you will go into the project directory, which is just created. So to do that, you type cd or change directory, basically move to another folder, and then we'll go to the Hello Android folder. Quick tip, if you type HE and then press tab, it'll auto-complete it for you. Hit enter. And now what you'll do is you'll add your platform. Now you can add iOS, Android, Windows Phone 8, whatever really, but we're just going to add Android for the time being, so just type Ionic platform add Android, like that. Hit enter. Again, not going to cut it out because I want you to see what it looks like. So you can see that's what it looks like when it works. Now that that's worked, we can actually get on to making the first app. So now you'll open up your folders, you'll go to your user folder. My user is test environment, but yours will be whatever you're called. So if you're called Steve, it'll probably be called Steve. And then you'll find Hello Android, go into the www folder, and then find your index. Right click, edit with the text editor of choice. I'm going to use Notepad++. And you can see, here's the code. Don't run away scared just yet. So what you can see here is everything above here is just setting things up. You don't really have to worry about any of that at the moment. Here is where your content goes, between the body tags. So you've got an ion pane, which is like just a container basically. Header bar, which is the top bar basically, where the back button will be and things. So we'll change that to my first app, like that. And then in ion content, this is where you put your text. I'm just going to put something like Hello Android. Now we'll save that. Just press Ctrl and S to save it. Close out of it. And now that we've done that, we'll go back to our command prompt and type Ionic build Android, like that. Hit enter. And now it'll actually build our application. It really is that simple. So you can see it's building it. This will take a moment, but again, I'm not going to cut it out because I really want you to see what this looks like. This will take a moment though. But in the meantime, what it's doing is it's building us an APK file, Android. I'm not actually sure what it stands for, but either way, it's building an APK file, which is like an exe or an MSI on Windows. And what you'll do is when we have that APK file, you'll copy it to your phone by plugging it in via USB or whatever. As soon as this finishes, but you'll copy it to your phone, open it to install it, and once you've installed it, you'll see that we have a working Android app. This won't take much longer, don't worry. There we go, now it's built. So to find it, it'll be in, go to Platforms, Android, Ant Build, Dexter's? No, where is it? I've actually forgotten. Resources? No. Oh, there they are. They're in the folder. Derp. Yeah, so just copy the aligned one. The other one's unaligned. Don't worry about the difference yet. I don't even know what that means. Right, so I'm now going to copy that to my phone, and I will show you the rest in a moment. So the next thing we're going to do is copy the file to our phone. So what you should do is you find the APK file that we've got here, and then you'll copy it, as I am here. Then go to your phone. I've got a Nexus 5. Paste it anywhere. It really doesn't matter. Just stick it somewhere. And we'll continue the rest on my phone. So the next thing we're going to do is install a file browser on our phone. So we're going to open Google Play, and then we're going to search for File Explorer. If you already have one installed, then great, go right ahead, use that. But I'm going to show how to install it for those that have never done this before. Now I've got one called File Manager installed, so I'm just going to use that one. I'm going to click the Open button. Then I'm going to scroll down and find the file, which is Hello Cordova-debug. Click it. Then click Install. If you get a pop-up warning you about unauthorized files or whatever, just accept it. Then we'll open it. And voila! Our first ever Android app. We got there in the end. Now, as you can see, it's incredibly basic and does nothing. But that's the foundations of what we're going to move on to in the next tutorial. So great, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.